Oh look, museum about the Pac-12 Conference's playoff hopes.
Wow, Oregon actually made it. Marcus Mariota and the Ducks obliterated Arizona in the Pac-12 championship game and are off to the inaugural college football playoff. Avenging their only original loss to Arizona earlier in the season, Oregon is going to play Florida State in the college football semifinal.
Loses the football, ball comes out, it's scooped up by the Ducks.
And wow, they obliterated them too. Man, the first year of this new playoff system in the Pac-12 is already healthily represented. Sure, Oregon ended up getting run into the ground by Ezekiel Elliott in the national championship game, but what a great start this is for the Pac-12 conference in this new era of college football. As long as all these contenders don't get tangled up stepping on each other's toes, the Pac-12 should be a shoo-in for a bid to the college football playoff from this point on. Oregon starts off 2015 with a tough loss to Michigan State and then starts off their Pac-12 slate against Utah. It's 6-6 after the first quarter. The final score was 20-62? What? The Pac-12 favorite is already out of the race to make it back to the playoffs, but that's far from the only team vying for a playoff berth in 2015. USC is ranked in the single digits as well, entering their Pac-12 play at home versus an unranked Stanford team. Despite Cody Kessler, Juju Smith-Schuster, and USC leading by 11 points midway through the second quarter, Kevin Hogan proceeds to lead his Stanford team to a 10-point win against USC. Oh yeah, Stanford had some other guy who did a lot of damage. Have you heard of him? Well, that game sent USC on a downward spiral. Alright, how about UCLA leading the pack in 2015? Nope. Chosen Rosen got absolutely crushed by future San Diego Fleet legend Mike Bercovici in the Arizona State Sun Devils. UCLA then got crushed again next week by Stanford. Alright, what about Utah? They're 6-0 now after wins against Oregon, a ranked Cal led by Jared Goff, and Arizona State, and they're playing USC, who's reeling after having to fire their head coach 2 weeks ago. Come on guys, keep it rolling, you're now in the driver's seat. Well, you would have been if your quarterback didn't throw 4 interceptions, that is. That only leaves one team standing with a chance to make the playoffs, Stanford. They've won 8 straight, and they're locked in a fierce battle against Oregon at home to keep those playoff hopes alive. Well, the sure was 2015, alright. Driving with time winding down, 8 points down, and 2 minutes left. And there goes the conference's playoff hopes for 2015. Wait. No, they've still got a chance.
And caught over the middle. Looking for the first down. He's got Rector. Hogan in the corner. Touchdown!
Against all odds, Stanford is still alive, but they need a 2-point conversion or they won't be. Okay, now there goes the conference's playoff hopes for 2015. Everyone beat everybody, so no one goes to the playoffs. Stanford would still end up winning the conference championship, though, on the back of another Christian McCaffrey masterpiece. It's a tough break for this conference in 2015, where their parity ended up costing them, but I'm sure this is just a momentary hiccup, right? Stanford comes back in 2016 hungry for more, ranked in the top 10 and rolling off 3 quick wins against Kansas State and the 2 LA teams. This leads them to the doorstep of the University of Washington, who absolutely steamrolls them. Stanford, you've just been Jake Browninged. Don't feel bad, most of the Pac-12 this season are in the same boat. Washington is 9-0, ranked number 4 and in prime position to make the college football playoff if they stay the course, which is what I would have said if the USC defense didn't completely stifle the Huskies in Husky Stadium just after that. Freshman Sam Darnold did just enough to lead USC to a win. If only they hadn't lost 3 of their first 4 games to start the season, getting demolished by Bama, Utah, and Stanford. USC did end up winning their final 9 games of the season, including the Rose Bowl, but those first 4 weeks were too damaging to overcome. That's back-to-back seasons of disappointments for the Pac-12. Wait. That USC loss only dropped Washington 2 places in the ranking? Wait, now they're back to number 4 by the Pac-12 championship game?
One-handed catch by John Ross. A highlight reel touchdown. Are you
Wow, Washington actually did it. They destroyed Colorado in the Pac-12 championship game and are off to the college football playoff. Guess that loss to USC earlier in the season didn't end up mattering after all. Even though Washington did end up getting crushed also by Alabama in the playoff, who cares? That's now 2 of the last 3 years that a Pac-12 team has made the playoff, and there are so many potential contenders in this league right now. The future is bright for the Pac-12 once again. Time for the Huskies to defend their title. Washington starts the 2017 season in the top 10 and they rattle off 6 straight wins against admittedly terrible competition. This 6-0 record takes them into Tempe, where Arizona State shuts them out for 3.5 quarters. Washington's kicker missed 2 point-blank field goals.
Hits the upright.
Those 2 field goals ended up being the difference in the game. Add that to a loss against an up-and-down all-year Stanford team 3 weeks later, and Washington's playoff hopes are right down the drain. But that's fine, though. The beauty of the Pac-12 is it doesn't always have to be one team. Take USC, for example. An extremely hyped Sam Darnold has his team ranked number 5 in late September before visiting number 16, Washington State in Pullman. A fantastic back-and-forth game ensues right up to the end, where Washington State kicks a field goal with 1 minute and change to go. But Darnold has a chance to lead a comeback and stay undefeated.
Blitz. Clean to Darnold, who lost the football. It's recovered by the Cougars.
Alright, there goes USC's chances to make the playoff as well, especially after losing to Notre Dame later in the year. The now number 8 Washington State then gets pummeled by Cal 2 weeks later. It's okay though, there's gotta be one other contender, right? Oh, everyone else in the Pac-12 was absolutely mid this year. No playoff bid for the Pac-12 this time. I mean, 2 out of 4 still ain't bad. Maybe the Pac-12 is just on an every other year's cycle. Let's look forward to the inevitable playoff berth in 2018. USC was pretty decently ranked to start the year before getting defensively dominated by an also highly ranked Stanford in week 2, kicking off a horrible year for Clay Helton's squad. Stanford then got clubbed by Notre Dame and followed that by losing 3 of their next 4 against Utah, Washington State, and Washington. Washington, led once again by Browning and Gaskin, is ranked as highly as number 6 in the preseason, and despite a kickoff game loss to Auburn, comes in at number 7 against number 17, Oregon. Oh yeah, Justin Herbert's on Oregon.
Running out of time, he throws a bullet. Was he in bounds? No sign yet. Touchdown.
Holy shit, what a catch! It's a fantastic game, no doubt about it. Jake Browning is so hyped by this touchdown, his mouth guard falls out. And when Washington's kicker misses a game winner, it means we're going to overtime. After a tough goal line stand leads to a field goal on Washington's end, Oregon's CJ Verdell has a chance to walk it off. Or rather, run it off.
Straight ahead for a touchdown. CJ Verdell wins the game for Oregon.
Washington follows this rivalry loss by losing to Cal for good measure. Well, I guess it's Oregon's turn to lead the conference back to the playoff. Oh wait, they gave up 27 unanswered points to Minshew Mania, baby! So now it's Washington State's turn to lead the conference to the playoff. Oh wait, the Huskies made their triumphant return in the Apple Cup and destroy Washington State in Pullman. Washington then wins the Pac-12 in a terrible game against Utah, in which there were 0 offensive touchdowns. Congrats again, Washington. That's now back-to-back years on the outside looking in for the Pac-12 conference, though. Well, maybe 2019 will be different? Utah starts off the year with incredible hype, ranked number 14 out of the gate, but loses their first Pac-12 game to USC, who then loses to Washington, who then loses to Stanford, who then loses to UCLA, who later loses to Utah, oh wow, looks like Utah won their next 8 games after losing to USC and is now ranked number 5 overall, heading into the conference championship, led by their senior year quarterback Tyler Huntley. Oh yeah, I forgot he went to Utah. That's not the only candidate for a playoff berth from the Pac-12's Oregon, and Justin Herbert and CJ Verdell's senior years are on an absolute tear after participating in the Pac-12 ceremonial kickoff loss to Auburn.
Touchdown, Williams!
Hey, look, it's Bo Nix.
Wonder if we'll be seeing more of him later.
Oregon rattles off 9 straight wins, including a come-from-behind win against Washington and going 53 yards with 1 minute left to kick the game-winning field goal against Washington State. Oregon is number 6 in the CFP. Well, welcome back to the party, Arizona State. We missed you guys. Oregon is this year's Tempe victim and goes down 24-7, and Herbert, despite making the score look respectable, was outmatched by Jaden Daniels. Oh yeah, I forgot he went to Arizona State. Oregon is no longer playing for a CFP bid, but they are playing for their first conference championship win since 2014 and playing for a chance to strip Utah of their potential bid to the playoffs. Because if number 5 Utah beats number 13 Oregon, Utah's in the playoff because we know LSU is about to vacate Georgia of their spot. Or Utah can give up 3 turnovers in the first quarter. Turnover on downs, punt block, interception. Utah loses 15-37. Come on, Oregon, that wasn't very considerate of you. Why isn't anyone thinking of the greater good of the conference? No! Let's put this debacle behind us. With so much talent in this conference again, 2020 should be an even better. Oh, never mind. So, like, the Pac-12 basically didn't have a football season this year? I mean, they did, and they did play games, although they started 4 weeks later than every other conference, and half the games that were scheduled ended up being canceled. No one here really had a shot to make the playoff due to these circumstances, except maybe Oregon, which is what I would have said before they lost to Oregon State and Cal in back-to-back weeks. Yeah, this season was a wash. Next! Oregon continued their poll momentum by making it all the way up to number 3 in October. They already crushed Arizona, although that was a gimme, but now they play 2-2 Stanford. And allow a game-tying drive? Sure, Stanford was aided by a buffet of flags, but come on, this is 2021 Stanford. They're gonna lose the next 7 games after this. No, it's too late. Oregon has lost once again to a team they should be beating. Oh wait, Oregon won the next 5 straight games and they're back up to number 3 in the polls. So who are they playing this week, huh? Oh, it's Utah. And they're pissed. Yeah. Oregon then loses again to Utah 2 weeks later in the championship game for good measure. The Utes got their revenge. Of course, the Utes could have made the playoffs themselves if they hadn't lost earlier in the season to BYU, SDSU in 3 overtimes. And hey, look, it's Oregon State. Nice of y'all to join us, Beavers. Another year of the Pac-12 missing the playoffs. Come on, Pac-12, what are you doing? A group of 5 team made the playoffs this year. What's your excuse? This is the weakest the Pac-12 has ever looked, but it won't last. We have 4 contenders in 2022 for the Pac-12. Utah and Oregon return to not only try for a conference championship, but also to try and break the Pac-12 playoff dam. 2 new faces join the fold, though. USC and UCLA, who have finally decided to contend for the first time in 5 years at the exact same time they both decided to leave the conference in 2 seasons. Wait, what? USC and UCLA are leaving? For what? The Big Ten? Y'all are gonna fly 3.5 hours for the closest conference away game? Well, have fun with that, you traitors. Come on now, is the Pac-12 really that bad of an option going forward? Don't answer that. Anyway, despite that punch to the gut, the 2022 season is still looking up for the conference as their first chance to make it back to the playoffs since 2016. And 2 of the contenders lose in the first week of the season. Georgia knocks the ranking right out of Oregon, and Utah loses an ugly game to the human combine reel that is Anthony Richardson. That leaves the 2 traitors as the conference's best shots. Utah visits UCLA for UCLA's first true test of the year, and senior quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson goes off. UCLA gets a 10-point lead and keeps Utah at arm's length the rest of the way. A great way to prove the haters wrong for UCLA, and Utah gets sent once again, spiraling off into obscurity. Oh wait, never mind, they first have to play USC the next week. This time it's Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley's turn to have their first true test of the year, and they pass it with flying colors. On offense. Unfortunately, USC's defense does not exist in any meaningful fashion, and despite leading 28-14 near the end of the second quarter, Cam Rising Rise is to the occasion and keeps Utah in the game in a back-and-forth offensive slugfest. It seems the last team to score will win. Utah scores last, and goes for 2 to seal it away.
Rising up the middle. He's in.
USC is handed their first loss of the season, and Utah has salvaged their up to this point disaster of big game losses. That leaves UCLA as the only undefeated team in the Pac-12. Is it their destiny to lead the Pac-12 to the promised land? Come on, have you even been paying attention? Oregon scores 28 points in the second quarter against UCLA and never looks back. So is it Oregon's destiny to lead the Pac-12 back to the playoffs? Well, an absolutely amazing back and forth game against Washington will have to decide. Both teams have their chances throughout, and both Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. show off their arms, but neither team is able to truly pull away.
Drops it in for Davis down the sideline, and there's nobody home.
Oregon now gets the ball back late in now a tie game, and they're going to choose to go for it on 4th down. Well, if that isn't a microcosm of this whole video, isn't it? Washington wins, Oregon is once again out of the playoff picture, and UCLA loses to Arizona. UCLA, did you forget Arizona's been a hot garbage the last 4 years? All this leads back to USC. USC is the Pac-12's last chance in 2022. Every other team in the Pac-12 has lost too many times to be a meaningful candidate to make the playoffs. USC is to face UCLA to keep those hopes alive. And as usual for the Pac-12 this season, defense does not exist. It's a back and forth endeavor until DTR is sacked and loses the football. And USC doesn't let them get back into the game. Oh wait, Williams just got sacked. UCLA is getting the ball back. Sure, it's on their own 11, but there's 2 minutes left. This could be DTR's Heisman moment against the soon-to-be Heisman winner.
Delivers, intercepted by USC.
Never mind. Instead, USC has kept the Pac-12's playoff hopes alive. They then beat Notre Dame. Wait, that's not a Pac-12 team. Who cares about that? It's all come down to this. USC is ranked number 4 in the country. The Pac-12 championship game awaits, and the Pac-12 doesn't need any outside games to fall in their favor. As long as USC continues doing what they've been doing all season, one final game, the Pac-12 will finally be back in the playoff for the first time since 2016. And even better, it's a rematch for USC against Utah, as if USC needed any further motivation to absolutely steamroll their opponent and break the Pac-12 curse. Do you even need to guess what happens? That's right, Caleb Williams goes off on the Utah defense until he hurts his hamstring. That's USC's narrative anyway. It certainly didn't help matters that from the second quarter onward, Utah's offense absolutely shoved it in the shambled USC defense's faces relentlessly. Yeah, shit. Once again, the Pac-12 has refused to let the Pac-12 go to the playoffs. Once again, the teams have become so intertwined in the standings that it's left them all once again on the outside looking in. Despite how exciting all these games are and how exciting it is to actually have some semblance of parity in a mainline college football conference, this playoff drought, combined with unbelievable mismanagement by the conference's leaders, has left the Pac-12 in a national narrative hole that they've slowly but surely been digging deeper over the last decade. Never getting a chance to truly prove themselves on the big stage because they've already been halfway destroyed by the time they have a chance to get there. And what's worse, at a time when college football is finally expanding the college football field from 4 teams to 12 in just 1 year, it just so coincides with now 8 teams leaving the Pac-12 altogether before that expansion even starts because of something non-existent media rights deal. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the mark of a conference whose existence over the last almost decade now has amounted to nothing more than a gruesome study in football cannibalism. Gotta say though, this upcoming 2023 season for the dying Pac-12 is gonna be fun as hell to watch though. So my advice, enjoy it while you still can.
But we do have one more thing.
And that thing is go watch my Tulane football video. Do it now. Go. The only reason I make these videos is to get the word out of my Tulane video. What are you waiting for? There's a link right in front of you. My entire life's goal is to indoctrinate everybody into Green Wave Nation. Trust me, you watch this whole video, there's no way you won't like that one, except maybe if you're Lincoln Riley. Everyone else except Lincoln Riley, watch my Tulane football video.